Hey boys and girls, Square One Art is our next project. We will create artwork that is a square rather than a rectangle. I'll mail those artworks away, and later we'll have the option to order products with your image on the product. Here is a coaster for keeping your table protected. There are stickers. There's tiles. You could order a mouse pad with your artwork on it, and there are a lot more products available to order. Today, let's focus on creating something wonderful that can be reproduced by Square One Art for a fundraiser. The fundraiser will allow us to buy more and better art materials. This is the project we're going to create today, inspired by the artist Hundertwasser. We're going to use organic lines that are lines from nature, not straight lines drawn with the ruler. We'll create some spiral trees, or maybe you want to repeat a shape in concentric circles to create 1, 2, maybe 3 trees. And we used oil pastel to draw, and then we also used some white pastel, and after that pastel drawing was finished, we used liquid watercolors to paint, and the oil pastel resists the watercolor paint, so you'll still be able to see your drawing underneath. Let's get started. For our grade, we're going to do Hundertwasser inspired trees. This artist was interested in nature and how there are no straight lines. So we're going to create 1 or 2 trees for our main image. It shouldn't take too long to do it. Remember, we're going to make our art into a square, so we aren't going to color or paint above the line. Down here, though, is where we need to decorate our paper. I'm going to begin thinking about 2 trees, 1 tall tree and 1 smaller tree. And I will make a spiral with a black oil pastel. A spiral line just goes around and around, either from the outside in or from the inside out. I'll try the outside in. I'll take my pastel and make a very large circle, but it's not a perfect circle. That's okay. There's the spiral. I almost went up here, and that would be okay to go off the edge of the paper a little bit. I'm pressing hard and going over my line to make sure it's dark enough. Now I would like to double up this line, so I'm going to take my drawing tool, my oil pastel, and make a second spiral right next to the line I just made. And that way I have a more complicated spiral. Now we're going to use that spiral as a tree design. So I'm going to make a curved line that goes down and off the edge of the paper. And now I'll double that line up so that my tree has a thick tree trunk. So I have this nice spiral tree. And now if you want to make a different kind of tree, you can make what are known as concentric circles. That means 1 circle and another circle and another circle, kind of like a target. Maybe it's not even going to be a circle. Maybe it'll be flat on the bottom for me, and rounder on the top. Please make your art different from my art. I'd like to see your ideas. But I'm going to make a shape that goes around there. And again, I'll repeat that shape around. And I'd like this shape to go off the edge of the paper also. So I'm going to make another. Ooh, look, it needs to skip. That will show overlapping. Now this tree will look closer than this tree. If I stop and I skip and I come around and off the page. Those are the two trees. That's all I need. Let's remember to put another tree trunk down and off the paper. Now I've got two black trees drawn, and I want to think about the background also. In the background, we can add shapes and lines, but let's use a white oil pastel for these lines in the background. You won't see the white until we've added the paint. But the white lines can be straight across or up and down or any way you choose. Just make some lines that repeat. I'm going to skip over my trees. Oh, I broke the pastel. I'm going to skip over my trees. And I can see this oil pastel, but maybe the camera won't show it. So I'm making a little bit of a wavy line that repeats. Got a little black in there, but that's okay. So another wavy line that repeats. Maybe you want to draw some shapes that repeat. I think some dots would be good. So I'm making some circles that will look like dots that repeat in a line. That's the end of my drawing. Now it's time to switch and get some watercolor paints. I have my supplies ready to paint. I have a messy mat that will help in case I need to paint off the edge of my paper, and I will. I have water, a paintbrush, and a paper towel. Paper towel helps when it's time to clean my brush. I dip and I wipe my brush, and then I can dry it off here, or sometimes I pinch those bristles in the paper towel. Now, we've got 2, 3, maybe 4 colors is all we need for this project. I'd like to use 2 cool colors on the trees, and I will alternate between the A color and the B color in an A-B pattern. A, B, A, B, A. I think I'd like to use this green color. That's a blue-green. And then I will use this darker blue. These are liquid watercolors. And we just dip down in the cup. And we can wipe the extra paint on the rim. And then I can use the tip of my paintbrush to paint a spot. I'm going to skip. Now I'm going to paint the next spot. These paints are good at staying between the lines when we use oil pastels. This is liquid watercolor paint. And the liquid watercolor paint is very bright. And it does not cross oil pastel. It's very important to clean your brush when you switch colors. I dip my paintbrush in the water and tap it on the bottom of the container, and then I wipe it on the edge. It's not a good idea to tap, because that will send sprinkles of water on other people's paper. Just dip and wipe. It is watery. That'll make a nice light blue color. When the water is clear, that's when I know my paintbrush is clean. If there's still color when you pinch your paintbrush, you need to dip and wipe again. My paintbrush is clean, so I'm going to switch back to this green. This next part is pretty fun. I'm going to paint the color right on top of those white pastel lines, and we should see those lines appearing, kind of like magic. I flipped my paper upside down because I think it's going to be easier to paint that way. I see. Now my painting is finished and I'm going to put it on the dry rack.